Hi guys, this is your girl Black and Indigenous American. I'm gonna wait for a few people to get in the chat before I start chit-chatting and talking, okay? And I'm also setting up my laptop so I can see chat remarks on my laptop versus the phone, okay? So, this video, let's see, what has happened within the last week? A lot. A lot has happened. Of course, in the news, we've heard about the tragedy among many, but the one that was televised the most was Kobe, his daughter, and the others who died in the helicopter crash. And I mean, it's Thursday, January the 30th, and I'm still, I understand behind the scenes what's probably going on, but as a human, we still feel lost. We feel confused. We feel, you know, why? Why this person or why that person? Why did it have to happen to that person? And so, long story short, that's kind of where I am right now. I wouldn't necessarily say that I was, a fan of sports in general. Um, but from a distance looking at Kobe and all the things he accomplished in such a short amount of time, um, I can respect that. I can respect that. And I say all of this because a lot of people, they're deeply hurt. He was more than just an athlete. And we're all more than just our occupation or a hobby or whatever gift that we have that is um, heightened, you know. We are more than that. And he was more than basketball. He was bigger than the game. And obviously we witnessed that with everyone who did mention their condolences and also, if they knew him personally, things about him that we would not have known just watching him on TV, you know. So there are many conspiracy theorists out there who are kind of laying low on this particular topic. And I understand because there needs to be time to have this sink in first before diving into uh, that kind of talk. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I feel about that. My heart goes out to his loved ones, be it blood related or not, those who knew him personally, and those who were just fans and just loved his craft. Um, as some people explained, in so many words, they were saying what we saw whenever we see greatness in any kind of capacity, but whenever we see greatness, we see God, right? We see God in that individual. And so that's where I am about that. And I'm kind of, I don't really want to eat on camera because I don't like when other people eat. But I'm having a late dinner. And this is actually healthy choice. Simply healthy choice. It's what is this? Mediterranean style lentil bowl. So this is my first time trying it. So I apologize in advance for eating in front of you guys. But like I mentioned before, my heart goes out to all those people who have been affected by the passing um, of an incredible gift to us, really, because he and all the others have elevated to the next level. So we're left behind, right? We're left behind. So that's why we should uplift his loved ones and those in mourning. Because I have a gut feeling those who crossed over are not mourning. And so we want to focus very heavily on just sending that supportive energy to those who are really crushed right now. Their spirit has suffered, heavily suffered within the past few days. So I send that to them. I send that to them. And you know, I found out about his passing. I was in Outer Banks, taking care, errands and again, I'll get more into detail about all that later. But the cable was finally turned on, and the first channel that popped up was, I think it was a sports channel or either CNN or something. Just checking and making sure the cable was working properly. And the cable guy, when he turned on the TV, I saw Kobe and I saw crash or helicopter something. And then I had to do a double take. I was like, did that just say died? Died? Am I reading that right? What? Yeah. That's how I found out. I didn't even get on Facebook because I was so busy taking care of a lot of stuff with boxes or whatever. But when the cable came on, that's when I found out about what happened to him. So, yeah, my heart is not as heavy, obviously, compared to those who actually knew him, but how it happened. And this cartoon years ago that said that Kobe was going to pass away in a helicopter crash, that doesn't sit well with me. And I know people are gifted. There are people that are gifted that can see what may possibly happen, like a forecast. I'm not sure if that cartoon was designed to make fun of a possible helicopter crash. You know how some people, they don't like a particular person or group of people, a celebrity or what have you, and they say mean things. They literally want people to die and go to hell and all of this stuff. And I'm like, words are powerful. And so this has gone viral. Somebody found a tweet that somebody posted and said that he was going to pass away in a helicopter crash, and this was posted on Twitter back in 2012. And so somebody found that, now it's going around the internet, screenshot of what was posted. So there is the gift of seeing ahead, and then there's planning for a tragedy like that. It makes you wonder, you know, it really does. It makes you wonder, like, was this planned? Was he a goat? And it happened during one of the big award shows, and I think they were in LA. I don't really watch the award shows like that anymore. I don't really keep up with it. Um, Part of it's because I'm kind of over all the extra that goes on at these award shows, because a lot of times everybody's trying, or not everybody, but you do have a handful of people who are trying to do that shock factor. You know, they're trying to do that shock factor, and you know, after a while, when every other person's trying to shock you or wow you, it gets boring. You know, it's like there could be but so many little Cams out there, right? Little Cam shocked us, right? Foxy Brown shocked us. This was in the 90s. Here it is, 2020, and people still trying to shock us with vulgar language and popping the booty and all that. It's like, that's already been done. Okay, do something else. Like, it's boring now. But obviously people are still watching, because if they didn't, then, you know, it wouldn't have attract so many viewers. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to do, guys, I see people are trying to chat or whatever, but I'm trying to get my laptop up real quick, and by doing so, then I can really see your comments. But anyway, like I said, guys, I'm actually eating this for dinner. I don't care for microwaves, but I am in a hotel, and it is what it is. And it's one of the healthier options. Again, it's healthy choice, simply Mediterranean style lentil bowl, mostly lentil. And yeah, it doesn't really look like this. This is what it looks like. So I'm gonna give it a go. It smells good though. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this. I don't understand why that's not working. Let's see. But anyway, once I get this up, then I'll comment whatever you guys were chatting about on there. But anyway, so today is Thursday. I think this is a good day to go live. I notice there's more interaction on Thursdays, you know, after 7 o'clock. So this might be my go-to. Okay. Let's see. So like I mentioned before, I went down to Outer Banks this past weekend. And part of the reason why is it's linked to what I have in store in the future. And again, I'll talk more about it once everything comes to pass, you know. But part of it is I was down there. I was helping unpack, helping get things organized. And luckily, there was no rain once I got down there, because I drove down Saturday, and it was raining really hard up here. But then by the time I got to, I say Fredericksburg, it pretty much was drizzling. By the time I got to Kings Dominion, you know, right before you get to Richmond, if you're going south, 195, it stopped raining. And then by the time I got to, let's say, Williamsburg, the sun came out. So that was pretty nice. And of course, when the sun's out and you're heading down to the Outer Banks, and it's just a beautiful place. It really is. It's definitely a beautiful place. So anyway, so when I got down there, stayed at the Pamlico Inn, which is like a bed and breakfast. where initially it was a bed and breakfast, but then it turned into more like a lodging area, inn, INN, and a restaurant. And so there you get free breakfast, and the breakfast is really good. Like, it's really good. Now they start charging $5 per person for tip, because even though it's free breakfast, but people are not leaving a tip for the servers, you know. So they just started adding the $5 tip to your room or whatever. So you're not gonna just eat free breakfast and don't tip anybody. That's not cool. And a lot of times these people, they live off their tips, and the jobs down there are slim to none, and you get paid. I mean, as like a waiter, you really get paid off your tips, you know. And being that it's winter, there aren't that many. I mean, there's still people going to the inn because it's one of the nicer places on the island, but during the winter months, it's very slow. So when you have a waiter and you're in a touristy area and it's winter time, like for real, if you can't tip somebody, just stay home or eat at McDonald's or something. At least when I worked at McDonald's, and that was a few years back, like in the late 90s, I think I made $5.15 an hour. I think that was minimum wage then. Yeah, so. Alright, let's see what this is. Let's see. So, Saturday, drove down there. I stopped in Chesapeake, Virginia. And I decided to try, because it's very slim pickings when you are a vegetarian and or you have dietary needs, right? You cannot stop at any and every place and eat. Now, back in the day, people, when they traveled, they made their meals and they packed their meals like sandwiches and things of that nature, so when they're traveling, they don't have to stop and eat, right? If they stop, they may just stop and go to the bathroom, but it's not like they are traveling and stopping and eating out and spending more money. So for people like myself, that, you know, the pickings are very slim when you're on the go and you want more than just trail mix, right? So I stopped at Dunkin' Donuts. So this was my first time. I mean, I've been to Dunkin' Donuts years ago, but I'm not a donut person. But they do have the Beyond sausage substitute vegan sandwich. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and give it a try, you know, and see what I think, right? So I stopped and I got 2 sandwiches, because I was like, sometimes some sandwiches can be on the small side. So I wanted to try it and see if I like it. If not, fine, whatever. So the first time I tried the Beyond Meat sandwich, it comes with like the bread. To me, it seems like it's almost like a McMuffin, right? The bread itself. Yes, Dunkin' Donuts is trying to serve fast food, health conscious food. I mean, it's not the healthiest of the healthiest, but at least they're trying, right? I would not eat a Dunkin' Donuts every day, but if I'm traveling and I need something quick and I'm hungry, there's a Dunkin' Donuts at almost every other exit. Just like McDonald's, you see the sign when you pass by, you have McDonald's, Wendy's, Arby's, you know, whatever. So Dunkin' Donuts, for the most part, I've noticed every other exit on a major highway, you're going to see a Dunkin' Donuts. So I tried a sandwich, and I have to admit, it was pretty good. Now, the bread, okay, as far as soy, I am not a fan of genetically modified soy, okay? Most of the soy that's in this country, unfortunately, is genetically modified. So we have to be careful about that. But when I'm traveling or whatever like that, is as good as it's going to get. So, and apparently Beyond Meat is actually better than in the Impossible Burger. Now, you know the Impossible Burger, they're really marketing it in a lot of grocery stores now, and also Burger King. So, a lot of people like Impossible Burger because it tastes just like a hamburger, you know, the actual beef. I prefer it not to taste too much like regular meat because you don't know if you actually are eating vegan versus meat. So I do like the slight taste difference. And Beyond Meat, it does taste similar, but you can tell it is not sausage. When you come from the area I come from, everything is pork, everyday pork. I know the difference between regular pork and then alternative. So it doesn't taste exactly like it, but it tastes pretty good. So anyway, the first sandwich that I got, the bread again reminded me of a McMuffin. So people who trying to be as healthy as possible with fast food, they'll probably be your best option. However, the second time I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and I did go a couple of times, I had them give me, instead of that bread, I had them give me the croissant. And oh my God, with the croissant and the Beyond Meat with the egg, I think the egg that they serve is mostly egg white, but you do see some yolk in it, and that's probably, I can go on and on about real versus not real food. But anyway, the point is they're trying to capture the market of people like myself because I would skip McDonald's and all these other fast food restaurants, and I think they're feeling it financially. So they have no other choice but to cater to people who are stepping away from animal products, okay, or animal byproducts, not just eating meat, but milk, cheese, things of that nature, byproducts of animals. People are becoming more and more sensitive to utilizing all of that. So, you know, in so many words, they need to, let's say, the point I'm trying to make is money is power when it comes to influence, right? So put your money literally where your mouth is. If there's something that you want and they're not listening, if you stop spending your money there, then all of a sudden they will listen and make it happen. So, whatever. Anyway, back to this healthy choice. Again, this is not, I prefer not to use a microwave. I haven't used microwaves on a consistent basis in, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years or something like that. But based on the current living arrangement here, I said, you know what? I'm just going to get a frozen dinner. Frozen dinners have gotten a bit better over the years. They're not loaded with salt as much because, you know, a lot of times they're loaded with salt. So, like this one is 600 mgs. It is up there. That's 26% daily value of your salt intake. So this, you know, I wouldn't necessarily eat this all the time, but a few days here and there with the limited kitchen and things of that nature, this is one of the better options, right? Plus Nally's, I've talked about Nally's before. Nally's is set up like a Chipotle, but it's salads, and you built your salads in. I've been a customer of Nally's well over a year now, and so I get these rewards and points and stuff. And so I got a text message. And Nally's is based in Maryland, by the way. So that's one thing I am going to miss when I say peace out to Maryland. I'm going to miss their Nally's, right? So anyway, and so I got a text message the other day that I'm able to get a salad when they take $7 off of a salad. And a salad typically costs about $9. So the next time I get a salad there, it only costs me $1 and some change. So that's pretty good. That helps. Also, I believe on Wednesdays they have $5 salads. So that's pretty good, cool. And every so often on the weekends, they have buy one salad, get one free. And so that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So every time you go, you can get a free salad. So, if you want to eat a couple of days of salads, and these are nice size salads too. Nice size salads. And you have them loaded up too. Like, put more tomatoes on that, put more of this on that. And so, with that said, that's also an option, to eat healthier outside of the home. Now, Nally's is not an organic-based salad restaurant, but I'm hoping that they will lean more towards providing organic vegetation. So that's one of the cons of a lot of eating out. A lot of eating out places, they don't have organic or whatever. So it is what it is. You just pray your food, pray, keep it moving. Also, you have to be concerned too with everything going around, airborne illnesses and stuff. You're really taking a chance eating out. You're really taking a chance just breathing these days, But try to keep that immune system up, Take your vitamins. Don't be stressed out over every little thing in life, Meditate, which I just did before I even started this video. I was meditating. And I say all of this because at the end of the day, eating certain foods, drinking certain drinks, and doing everything based on what the next person is doing that works for them, at the end of the day, that may not necessarily be it's more to living your best life than if you're eating organic or not. Now, granted, organic is ideal. It is ideal, but at the same time, praying over your food, putting that energy in that food will transform that food so it is what you need it to be. And food's supposed to be consumed for nourishment, right? Not just for taste. So you pray over it, like right now, say something like, "Thank you, highest divinity, for this food that I'm about to receive. I ask that it will give me the vitamins and minerals needed so I can take care of this vessel. Thank you, highest divinity. Amen." Right? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and eat a little bit while I talk. So again, I apologize if chewing gets on your nerves. Let me go back and read some of these messages here. So Pony Lock says, "Greetings to the host and the nations." Hi, Pony Locks. How are you? Thanks for chiming in. It's pretty good. It should be. It has flavor. Yeah, it's good. Hi, Ari. One of my regulars. Hi, Natasha. I think this is the first time you've watched my, or at least commented on my live video. So thank you. Pony says it's all about the numbers. Um, I'm not sure what you meant by that because that was a while ago. What I was saying when you said it was all about the numbers. Um, then you says, "Wow, Dunkin' Donuts trying to serve healthy food." Yes, I think I saw one commercial with Snoop Dogg promoting Dunkin' Donuts Beyond Sausage Sandwich. Not that I was going to go there just because he was on the commercial promoting it, because I had my eye on it anyway. But when I saw him promoting it, I said, "Oh, look at these celebrities that you wouldn't think will be promoting a vegan sandwich." But yeah, Snoop Dogg was promoting it. I came across Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. I came across a YouTube video where he was making some kind of vegan dish, like literally in the kitchen cooking. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, so I think a lot of celebrities that you wouldn't think would be into this whole vegan um, uh, culture, I guess you can call it that, are now, I don't know if they're literally eating that way or they know there's a market and they're trying to get some coins from it. Whatever the case, they're promoting it. Yeah, that's a good idea, Erin. You said get you a small one burner hot plate for the motel room when traveling for business and leisure. Yeah, I thought about going to like Walmart or whatever and getting one, but then I was like, ugh, I really don't want to tote plates and bowls and utensils and a frying pan and a salsa pan because I got spoiled. The last hotel I was in had all of that. The last hotel I was in is called Sunesta, and they had all of those essentials already in the kitchen. This place that I'm staying in now, I'm not going to talk too much about it now because I'm here and I got to deal with it. I'll talk more in detail later. But this place has a kitchen and does not have not one utensil in here. There's a stupid postcard over there on the counter that says if you need whatever da 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 da, you can come to the front desk and pick up the package of essentials. I'm like, nope. Because once I check out, which is Sunday, I'm not coming back. Not to this place. Mm-mm. I have too much class. Apparently, I have too much class to stay here after Sunday. Mm-mm. Nope. Pony says they watch what indigenous people spend their money so they can determine what they will market next. Hmm. I think now with the algorithms and you know how when you go to a website they say, oh, we look at your cookies and you know blah 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 blah. Press OK if you agree with us doing that. They're seeing your search patterns and what you like, and that gives them an idea of what they should offer so they can get paid. So if you're constantly going to websites like, um, I don't know, lotion, right? Then you're going to constantly start seeing lotion ads pop up. They're trying to get your business. Hmm. Yes. I am near farmer markets. But I've kind of gotten complacent because where I used to live in Northern Virginia, there was an abundance supply of farmers markets. And sometimes they'll be on Wednesdays, sometimes they'll be on Saturdays, sometimes they'll be on Sundays. And the farmers market I used to go to was on, I used to go on a Saturday. And you had to get there pretty early to get the best of the best, especially the eggs. For people like myself who still eat eggs from a chicken. But this is like farmers just laid eggs. None of that whole sitting in a cart for 2-3 weeks and then it shows up at the grocery store. None of that. It was fresh. But nowadays it's like I don't mind getting up early and doing all of that, but I am also trying to be considerate of others that I'm around that are not morning people. And people that are night owls, they don't want to be disturbed at 8, 9, even 10 o'clock in the morning to go to the farmer's market. When I used to go, I used to be there like at 8 o'clock in the morning. That means I got up at 7, maybe a little bit before 7. Went to the farmer's market, got there about 8. Because if you go there anytime after 8:30, sometimes after 8 o'clock, all of the fresh stuff is gone. Like eggs, milk. If you did want meat that is nitrate free and all of that, you had to get there pretty early. A lot of people like the bacon, people that still would eat pork, but it was not loaded with a lot of chemicals, and so, yeah. Natasha said this was the first time catching me live. And the first video of me live eating. Well, anyway, thanks for chiming in. I appreciate it. Pony said you were speaking of a 2012 tweet about Kobe dying in a helicopter crash. Yes. I guess my question is, whoever posted that tweet, did this person have psychic abilities or something? Or was it a joke? Because maybe they didn't like Kobe and wished him harm. Yeah, I still have a certain feeling about that. Yeah. Ari is referring to the farmer's market comment. He says all the best goes first and what's left been picked over. That's true. That is so true. That's why you had to get up early. I always tell people that are night owls, in particular, Mr. I don't mind getting up early and getting stuff done. I would much rather get up early, avoid all the stupid drivers out there that don't know what they're doing or what they want to go, which turn they want to turn at. They still at home. Breath still stank, still at home, rolling out the bed when I'm up taking care of business. It is so peaceful and tranquil when you go to the stores or go pump gas or whatever. And one thing about living in this area, you have to time it. You can't just get up whenever and expect people not to be in your way. You know, you have to do things either really early or really late when the average person is not out and about. So that's how I do. And I got hip too because I started contacting stores. There are certain items, for whatever reason, they will just fly off the shelf, and I'm like, when are you guys going to get a new shipment? When are you going to get a new delivery? When is your delivery? When do you guys get all this stuff to come in? And I was told, like when I was going to Walmart, they said, oh, Tuesdays and Fridays, because Fridays is kind of like setting up for the weekend, and Tuesdays is kind of like replenishing from the chaos over the weekend. So I used to go extra early on Saturdays. Like literally, I'm at Walmart at 7:30 in the morning, in and out. Because as an introvert and as someone who can feel energy, Walmart and places like that that's chaotic, I can't. I can't. And one of my relatives, my Aunt Risa, she was like I was really close to her. But anyway, she suffered from anxiety, and she literally would like have a hard time going into Walmart because she would have an anxiety attack. So it's like if she's about to go to Walmart or she's in Walmart and let's say she's in the line trying to check out, she literally will leave her stuff there and leave Walmart, like stuff still in a cart because she was having an attack. That's how bad it is. So I'm like, you got to get there early for real. Mm-hmm. Most elders get up early. And I remember when I was coming up, most of the people that was up there early were older people. It was rare that you saw people around my age up that early unless they were hanging out all night and they were going home to go to sleep. But yeah, most elders tend to kind of check in early. Maybe nap, take cat naps at night, get up extra early because they're really not tired anyway. Take care of what they need to take care of, go home and take a nap. Not all elders are like that, by the way. I know a few that they don't sleep great at night, and sometimes they have to be on sleep aid to help them sleep. Um, or they'll stay up really late at night so they can at least sleep until 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Like 5 of the 6 hours of sleep is all they can get in one session. People like that, I suggest if they're, at an age where they don't have to work, a 9 to 5 or whatever, I suggest that they just take cat naps throughout the day because at night they just can't sleep a full 8 hours. I can sleep, like for real. I used to sleep too much and I would be just groggy. And I was like, well, I'm going to have to cut it at 8 hours. I can't sleep more than 8 hours. And these days, I typically get at least 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep. I could go for 8 though. But, as long as I can get like 7 hours of sleep, I'm good. So Ari mentioned nothing psychic about secret societies that set things in motion behind the scenes decades before the sheeple are affected by it. I don't know if you meant sheep or did you mean sheeple? I've never heard that word before. Anyway, yeah. I was thinking, was this guy psychic? Or behind the scenes, it was planned for something to go down like that. Honestly, I think it was planned. And it happened on Grammy night, or Grammy, the day of the Grammys. I really don't think that was a coincidence. I don't. And that's why it doesn't sit well with me. Now, for people that believe in before you are in this life, in this physical life, you choose your experiences prior to, including how you're going to die. And you wonder if that's the case. You wonder if Kobe and his daughter both planned their exit that way. If you believe in that, that you choose your life experiences and how you exit. I don't know. But like I said, something just doesn't sit right with me about how it all went down. Pony said, wow, I had an Aunt Retha who I would go to these stores with, laugh out loud. My aunt that I was just thinking about, her name is Risa. R-I-C-A. Well, that's her nickname, Risa. The one that I was very close to. The one that still does visit me in my dreams. Every so often she'll show up. I'll have a visitation. Because again, she was like my mother. So she's my mom's sister. So she was like my mother. Kari says the masses are now deemed sheeple. The blind, in other words. Kobe was murdered because he broke code. But why him? There's so many more celebrities out there. Like, why Kobe? Like, what was the code that he broke compared to everybody else? The pilot was told by FAA not to take off. So they were warned. Okay. Even law enforcement agencies' copters were grounded due to low visibility. Interesting. Natasha says, I heard Kobe was about to bring something out. Not sure what, but whatever it was, they didn't want him to. Now, I just thought about something. One of Kobe's favorite books was called The Alchemist. Again, that's The Alchemist. And I read that book a few months ago. It was the 25th anniversary of the book. And apparently, Kobe and the author of The Alchemist were going to work together to write a children's book. But that never happened. The author of The Alchemist He said he was working on the draft, but now that Kobe is no longer with us, he said he deleted it. He said because there really was no point of finishing the children's book without Kobe, because Kobe didn't have any direct um, direct influence on the draft copy. That was just the author like getting things going or whatever. So Kobe didn't have any direct input, and so the author just went ahead and deleted the draft that he wrote. I really like The Alchemist. It's very eye-opening. It's simple, it's easy reading, and it's eye-opening. And it has a lot to do with obviously alchemy and law of attraction, among other things. And it's all up here. The mind. We have to believe it. You have to know it. You have to taste it. You have to feel it. In that way, you create whatever it is, whatever environment you're creating it. And so I believe Kobe and this author of The Alchemist, I think his name is Paulo something. I can't think of his name. He and Kobe were going to work on a children's book, and I believe that at a child level, like preschool, elementary school level, encouraging children to never stop believing in make believing, or whatever you want to call it. Because at a point in our lives, we are taught you're too old to have make believe friends. You're too old for that. Imagining. Snap out of it. People that daydream in classrooms, snap out of it. What are you doing? Don't daydream. And so that's what they were working on, or about to work on. And so I don't know if that was something that he broke code or whatever by getting to the nitty gritty and getting the children at an earlier age to understand how their mind is so powerful that they can create whatever reality that they want. Like a lot of these little girls will walk around and, I'm a princess, I'm a princess. I remember I was in Orlando. I just came back from Disney World, and it was one of them early flights, and there was a shuttle bus that took us back to the airport from the hotel. And being it was so early in the morning, most people were not talking, except this one little girl and her father. And it was like 4:30 in the morning. And I'm like, why the hell is he encouraging this little girl? It is too early. And then the wife, I guess the mother of the child, the wife of the child's father, was like, be quiet, stop, and the more you talk, the more she's gonna talk. It's too early, She knew that it was too early for her child to be talking on a bus with a bunch of people. So this is what the little girl says. She says, Daddy, I'm a princess. He said, yes, honey, you are a princess. I'm glad I'm a princess. Daddy, am I a princess? Yes, you're a princess. You're daddy's princess. I'm the princess of the whole world, right, Daddy? Yes, you're the princess of the whole world. But he was like encouraging, even though it was annoying to the rest of us, he was encouraging this little girl to believe that she was special, that she was a princess. And a lot of little girls, they imagine that they're a princess or whatever. It's important that as adults we do not smuffle. Is that the word I'm looking for? We don't put out that flame of that magic that each child typically would have growing up. Because, when they're little, we encourage it, right? When they're real small, like, oh, the tooth fairy came, where's your tooth? Look up under the pillow. Then they look up under the pillow and there's no tooth, but in exchange for the tooth is, some kind of currency, typically. And so, for however many years, you encourage them to believe in the tooth fairy. And then, for whatever reason, at a particular age, you're like, okay, ain't no more tooth fairy, so snap out of it. Like, wait a minute, so you encourage this behavior of believing, but now there's no tooth fairy now. So anyway, just saying. So maybe, just maybe, Kobe was, as you say, Ari, breaking a code, and maybe that was one of the things he did that broke a code. Okay, Natasha says some metaphysical stuff. Pony says Kobe was in court for the rights to use the name Black Mamba, which an energy pill company wanted to use the same name. Ari says he skipped the sports commentating circuit to give back. And in court with high-tech pharmaceutical company over trademark of his name, the Black Mamba. Yeah, Natasha. Paulo Coelho. That's the author of The Alchemist. Very small book, easy read. I read that book in like a couple of days, on the weekend. So I liked it. Pony says, yes, to tell people to snap out of daydreaming stops their creative abilities. Yes, it does. And you know what? I've always was like, I wish I was creative. Because I'm surrounded by people who are creative. I have friends that are creative. They can create things with their hands. They can paint. The graphic designers and stuff, So I'm surrounded by people that can create things like that. Even my mother, and I mentioned this before, but she's the type of person, she can make things, sew and things of that nature. Like whatever she does, she can go to a thrift store, pick up something, get some hot glue, and voila, you thought she got it from Michael's. No, she made that. So, there's a lot of people that I found are creative, and I never felt creative. I was more of a black-white type person. It is or it ain't. 2 + 2 is 4. Ain't nothing creative about that, right? But then I realized, and this is years later, years ago, I was connected with some people online through Facebook, and some people with gifts, and some of the gifts that they had, I wasn't quite ready to embrace their gift. I would say probably more so I was taught to be suspicious of certain gifts. So when people had certain gifts and they would talk about whatever, I kind of like stepped away from whatever that they were trying to do to be helpful. But this is what one person said. She said, you need to be creative. Whatever it is, in order to grow, in so many words, because I don't remember word for word, but she said in so many words, in order to grow, you have to be creative. Even though you've done things a certain way, and people around you from back home may have done things a certain way, she said you are going to have to be creative in whatever you do to, be successful or whatever. And I'm saying creative, like I was saying to myself, well, I'm not going to, I was thinking beadwork, right? I'm like, I'm not a beadwork person. Yes, I could probably do it if I put some effort into it. I probably could do some beadwork or whatever. But I was like, I'm just not a crafty type person. But one thing that I've learned, and now I have respect for, is that when you create something, even if it's not store ready, like somebody will buy it from you, high price, if you make something with your own hands and you put your energy into it, there's power there. Your energy is in whatever you just created. As far as physical stuff, your energy is in it. So when we make our own food or do whatever ourselves and we put our energy into it, it has power. It has power. So back to the whole creative thing, even if I feel like whatever I just created is not worthy of, a standing ovation or whatever, but I was being creative and my energy was put into it, and therefore it's powerful, right? So when she said you need to be creative now, years later, I get it. Not creative like making a weave basket or beading something for regalia. Not necessarily, but just being creative in whatever you're going to do. And know that that energy that you put in it has power. So this is one main reason why a lot of people make their own regalia. And I have yet to do that. They make their own regalia because their energy is in it. And when they dance, it's just another level. Let's just put it that way. So, let's see. Let me read some more of these comments. You guys can still see me, right? Because my laptop is saying chat was disconnected. So just post something, type something, so I know that you guys can still see and or hear me. Can you guys see me? Well, I'm going to keep talking. So anyway, this is right here that I'm shaking up. I've had this before. This is really good. Okay, good. I can see you guys. You can still see me. Great. Anyway, this product right here I got from Wegmans. I've had it a few times. It is... Okay, the audio is delayed. Okay. But this right here is very, very good, okay? It's called Rebel. Soulfully crafted super herbs, dark chocolate protein, super herb elixir with dark cocoa and MCTs. It's 16 grams of protein. And it is plant-based. So there's organic coconut milk, which is water, organic coconut cream, organic plant protein blend, which has organic pea protein, organic sunflower protein, And then there's organic cocoa powder, organic coconut sugar, organic inulin, which is prebiotic fiber, organic vanilla extract, pink salt, organic ashwagandha extract, organic maca extract, organic stevia extract, organic reishi extract, which is like the mushroom family. And this is the bomb diggity dong. I mean, this right here tastes just like chocolate milk. You just have to shake it really, really well because there's, like I said, there's mushrooms and all that in here, and so it settles at the bottom, so you have to like shake it up real good. This tastes just like chocolate milk, y'all. This is good. And it's 230 calories. It's 10 grams of fat, 9 grams of saturated fat. Sodium is 150 mg. Dietary fiber is 3, and protein is 16 grams. This is organic. It's plant powdered, which is vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free, no cane sugar, and no gums. The bomb. And it was on sale until the 5th of February. So yeah, it's good. Y'all, sometimes things taste chalky. This is good. Hopefully it's there's no delay with audio. I don't know. I have this free Wi-Fi, and sometimes this free Wi-Fi just does not stay up as much as I hoped it would. So anyway, okay. Back to Outer Banks, because I didn't finish that story. Yeah, I was saying we stayed at the Pamela Co. Inn in Outer Banks, facing the sound side, not the ocean side. Like I said, they have really good breakfast, and the owner there, he's really cool. And we've been there so many times, it's kind of like we're part of the family now. Found out that this dude is not a person of color, but his wife is, and she lives in Virginia Beach, and I have yet to meet her because I think she works in Virginia Beach, or she has a business up there or whatever, and then on the weekends she come down to the island. So let's just put it this way: there is not a lot of diversity when it comes to skin tone in the Outer Banks. So good, I'm dripping everywhere. Excuse me, but like I said, there's not that much diversity down in the Outer Banks. It's just not when it comes to skin tone. But your girl has been spending quite a bit of time in that region, and at the end of the day, things going to get spicy down there. And you might as well get used to it. For those who have reservations about people that look like me. Because guess what, y'all? Guess what? As an Indigenous American woman, who is from the state of Virginia, whose roots come from North Carolina. I go where the hell I want to go. My folks been here. So get used to it. Just saying. Get used to it. I walk where the hell I want on this land. That's how I feel about that. Hi, Pony. You just said 100. I'm saying, at the end of the day, y'all, at the end of the day, when you walk into an establishment or a region and you the unicorn or the elephant or whatever you want to call it, you walk with pride. You hold your head up because guess what? You are walking with your ancestors. And more than likely, your ancestors was from that region. You just got to remind people. You got to remind people of the original people. Because sometimes they forget. Yeah, you may have a sign up or a street sign or a town that sounds Indigenous American. But I don't see reflection of Indigenous American. I see a lot of people that descend from Europeans on Indigenous American soil. Just saying. So, looks like your girl is probably going to be reminding people whose land they're on. So, get used to it. That's how I feel about that. So, there's a couple of things that I want to do once things settle down with the relocation and all of that, because I'm still in the process of getting things in order. But what I want to do, and I want to take you guys along with me, live maybe, but more so probably recording it on my phone, because live does not necessarily work well everywhere, as far as service. And I don't want to go live and it's buffering. And like right now, you guys said the auto was behind or slow or something. But there's parts of Eastern Shore that I want to if not introduce, but more so remind people that watch my channel that there is so much more to the Eastern Shore than what you see today. What you see today are people who are living on land that was once occupied by more than a 0.5% of people that look like me, right? Or possibly look like you, right? So what I want to do is stop at some locations that have some sort of remembrance or memorial or something that's pertaining to people of color, non-white folks. That's the point I'm trying to make. Non-white folks. Yeah. That's what I want to do. So there's when you're driving, through Currituck County, North Carolina. There is this colored school right off of the highway that's called, what is it called? I'm trying to remember what it's called. Let's see. Jarensburg Color School. Hold on. Give me a moment. I'll be right back. I have it written down. I was just looking it up today because I've passed it so many times going down to the Outer Banks that I never got around to stopping to really be there. So it's called Jarvisburg Colored School. That's Jarvisburg. Again, that's Jarvisburg Colored School. It was built in 1868 and it remained in operation until 1950. And I'm assuming that's when things, they desegregated the school system or whatever. But that's how long that school was in operation. And that school is still there. There is a marker there. And I think it's next to a church or something. But yeah, it's right there. If you blink, you'll miss it if you're not paying attention. And so that's something I think I want to record when I go down there, and post it on my channel, and maybe even go live. That's what I want to do. Another thing I want to do is I did a little research, and I wish this internet was working, because what I could do right now is research real quick. It was like a swamp or a canal. It was a man-made canal along the coast of Virginia and parts of North Carolina, and it was a safe haven for runaway slaves. Because one thing about swampy areas is unbearable in the summertime. Mosquitoes and snakes and everything. And this was a place of refuge. This was a place of refuge for runaways. And you can go now there. They have access to that area. And when I learned about it, I was like, I have to go. That's one area that I definitely want to go, and I'll document it. Now, it's not going to be like HGTV or History Channel type documentation now. It's going to be me and my phone camera. And like I said, if my reception is good, I may go live. If not, I'll just record it and upload it later. So I guess you could say what I want to do is more like a field trip type platform down in the Carolinas on the coast, and really highlighting, I really want to highlight the incredible impact of people of color, or I should say non-white people. And this is not just black people. When I say people of color, this is not just black people. This is just people who are not white. I want to highlight their impact, because many times people within our genetic pool have been overlooked, either on purpose or maybe unintentionally, because they didn't see it in the regular history books, and they decided, hey, it's not even worth talking about. When there's in history there's more than just what you see today. And it bothers me that whenever I go down there, I don't see it. Only thing I see down there are names of streets and towns, remnants of indigenous people, and in some cases, African black folks. Remnants. And so I think my followers on YouTube would find it interesting if I do share that bit of information. Because again, you're not going to find a lot of this stuff in regular history, U.S. history textbooks. You know, you're not going to find this stuff. And so, yeah, there was, like I said, a few places that I definitely wanted to check out. And like I said, the Jarvisburg Colored School in Currituck County, North Carolina. As soon as you cross over into the state, within like 2 or 3 minutes, that's when you'll see the school on your way to Outer Banks. Let's see. I've mentioned Hotel de Afrique. Hotel de Afrique is underwater, the location at this moment. But once upon a time, that was almost like a boarding house for runaway slaves. It was a safe haven in Hatteras Village. And this is in Cape Hatteras area. And so I say all of this because there is a marker there in Hatteras Village, but it's just the actual location is underwater. This is one thing that I would love to do. This is me brainstorming. You never know, right? But this is me brainstorming. What I would love to do is, even though it's underwater, have some kind of access to that site by, let's say, an airboat. You know, like, what's the name of that show? Is it Swamp People or something about alligators down in Louisiana? Anyway, I think they use airboats, if I'm not mistaken, to take people to the swamp, you know, swamp tours or whatever. I would like to have something set up like that, where you have people who are seeking trips to historical locations that's a reflection of their genetic pool, right? And take them across where the location is, where the Hotel de Afrique was located. But take them to that location, right in that area, on an airboat. And at that spot, we could do something that is honorable to those who came before us. Maybe pour some offerings or something right on that spot. Because again, it's underwater now. But that doesn't mean that their lives and their stories was insignificant just because. I mean, just think about it. People are still researching Atlantis, and these other cities are now underwater. And you wonder, why are they underwater? Because it used to be dry land. But now with the climate and things of that nature, the sea levels are rising, and they're still rising. But back in the 1800s or whatever, that land was dry land. I would like to do that. That's an idea. There's some more ideas. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I would like to highlight Hotel de Afrique, also the Hatteras natives, indigenous people that inhabited Cape Hatteras. Um, there's been archaeological dig-outs or dugouts in that region where they found evidence of people living there long term, not just seasonal visitors, but indigenous people that live there long term. And I've actually driven past that location. I didn't get out the car and look and all that, but it's been on, I want to say it's been on the History Channel, There's a few people that went out there and did some research or whatever. So, but yeah, things like that. Um, Richard Etheridge was the leader of the Colored Seamen or Lifesavers. That's a big deal. He's well known around there. There's a few things named after him. The town of Manio, which is on Roanoke Island, they're talking about creating a statue in his memory there. Manteo has a lot of historical let's just say that particular island, which is Roanoke Island, the Manio population, they do have non-white people that live there. And it may not seem like much, but they do take time to honor African American people and what they contributed to Outer Banks. Let's just put it that way. Of course, there's more stories, there's more things to learn, but that's what I've learned thus far. So I'm going to make a trip to Manio eventually. They do have, I think, a museum. They do have a festival there. I think it's once a year. I have heard mixed feelings or mixed opinions about the Roanoke Island Festival when it's pertaining to indigenous American people. There are several people that frown upon the depiction of indigenous people. They believe that it is not accurate. There's conversations about the Lumbee being connected to the Croatan people that inhabited Roanoke Island. There is some confrontation with that. And see, I don't know Lumbee like that. I don't know their complete history. I know that they are not just one tribe. They are a mixture of different tribes, among other things. And so I think some of them may be linked to the Croatan indigenous people that inhabited Roanoke Island. There's been talk that the lost colony, as far as the European folks, the English people, may have been absorbed with the Croatan people. And some Lumbee people may be linked to the Croatan. It's a possibility, but again, I don't know the Lumbee's history that well to have an educated opinion about their origin, okay, when it comes to the indigenous American origin. I don't know. What I do know is that they are a mixture of different tribes, not just Croatan, okay? But I'm still learning about a lot of the inner fighting amongst tribal communities in North Carolina. And I'm sure it's like that everywhere, but I don't know enough about it to talk that much about it. But apparently the Croatan people were the original inhabitants of Roanoke Island, which is part of the Outer Banks. Cape Hatteras, the original inhabitants were called Hatteras. They say Indian, but Hatteras indigenous people. So that's stuff I'm learning. Again, I'm from Virginia, and my indigenous American people have been back and forth from Virginia to North Carolina to Virginia. Some people, they went to South Carolina, came back to North Carolina. Others went to Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York State, and eventually into Canada. So my indigenous package is complicated. And so I try not to get too caught up in all of that, but based on me spending time in the Outer Banks more so than just touring or being a tourist, I've been spending a lot of time there. And so I want to share that with you guys. It's interesting because the villages on the Outer Banks are named after different phrases within the Algonquin language. And there's this one village called Kennekeet. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Kennekeet means, I think it means this sand that sinks. First thing I thought about when I read that, I was like, sinkholes? Sand that sinks. I think that's what Kennekeet means in Algonquin. Sand that sinks. I'm like, I ain't trying to live there. Well, I ain't gonna try to spend too much time there. But yeah, there is a village, well, not a village, but more so a community is called Kennekeet. Because the village itself is called Avon, just so you know. Kennekeet is in Avon. And you know, I just found out, apparently there's a celebrity that lives in Avon. And Avon is a small village in the Outer Banks. And Avon is a good hour from Nag's Head. And yeah, I'm not going to say which celebrity. But if you are a fan of this show, you will know what I'm talking about. One of the major props in the show. Hold on. Hold on. Trying to get this up here. I don't know why the internet is not working. What was this prop's name? Hold on. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, Lucille. If you are a fan of this show, that I'm not going to say, one of the famous props in this show is called Lucille. The character who used Lucille lives in Avon. I think part-time, not 100% of the time, but part-time. I just found this out. I just found this out literally this past weekend. And I've been going to Avon. There's this one restaurant that tastes pretty good, and I can get some vegetarian dishes. Is in Avon. So that's going to be pretty cool one of these days that I'm just doing my thing, maybe going to Food Line or something, to pick up something, and I see this actor buying a carton of milk or whatever, and then I'm going to be like, where's Lucille? So anyway, it's funny. But yeah, so let's see. I should be up now where I can see your chat, because I know some of you guys were chatting, and my chat on this end was not working properly, so I should be able to see it. But anyway, so I am going to dig up as much history that has been overlooked in the coastal area as much as possible and share it with you guys. Even if it's a small article in the local newspaper, you know, not front page or whatever, but somewhere. Whenever I find stuff like that, I'm going to share that with you guys. Because I think sometimes people don't travel to certain areas in this day and time. It's because maybe it was unspoken rule over a couple of generations that, oh, well, we don't go over there because our people don't go there, you know, or our people are not welcomed there. And so them days are over. If you don't see a reflection of your genetic pool, you remind them whose land they're on. And you don't have to have a picket sign and all that stuff. Just be you. Walk in authority. Don't be timid. Don't be, because initially when I went down there and not seeing a reflection of my genetic pool, it made me think and wonder whatever. But I said, no. When I walk in a room, of course I'm noticed. I stand out. I stand out. I get it. Because if you're the only different in the room, you are going to be noticed. It's just the way it is. But you are a reminder. You being there is a reminder so people don't forget. I'm so sick and tired of remnants of my genetic pool being displayed, but I don't see a reflection, living, breathing reflection of my genetic pool. So I say all of this because there are a few things down there that I want to explore and share it with you guys. Let's see. Like I said, Roanoke Island, they do this big thing in February for Black History Month, which, it's Black History Month, right? Why not? But that is a good step in the right direction. I'm just looking at an old article right now, not a new article. So it's not like for this year, but it's an old article. and it's Outer Banks Common Good. That's the website. Um, it says when visiting the state's coastal counties, beaches and scenic views are usually the focus. You know, the view. That's like magic, right? And I'll just say this. Yemaya. Yemaya. Big water. There's a reason why many people are drawn to the water. Yemaya. That energy is powerful. And it's feminine, by the way. It's a feminine energy. And Yemaya is linked to Africa, for those who are not familiar with Yemaya. And the name is pronounced differently, you know, depending on who you're talking to. But Yemaya is what I've been hearing, so I've been going with that. But there is also an underlying history at these tourist destinations. Again, underlining. And in this new decade that we have gotten into, that we're experiencing, this history should not be underlining. If you're going to walk, if you're going to love, if you're going to laugh, if you're going to experience life on my genetic pool land, I expect for you to at least have some idea the history that's there. Out of respect, when you go to someone else's house, you don't just come in their house and you don't acknowledge who actually lives there. You just walk up in the house, turn on the TV, put your feet up on the coffee table, go in somebody else's refrigerator, get the pack of cheese out, drink some soda, and don't acknowledge the people that actually live there. That's disrespectful. So while you're surfing and having a good time, it's disrespectful when you have no clue who the original people were that lived there. Their descendants are still around because they didn't go away. But it's important that people know. Just saying. You go anywhere else, you're foreign in a different country, you want to learn everything about that country. What kind of music do they listen to? What kind of clothes do they wear? Oh, I want to buy that dress the way, you know, the locals wear their dresses, right? In my opinion, that's a form of some sort of respect, because you know you are a foreigner and you want to understand as much as possible the culture, right? You want to learn a little bit about the people that's there. You don't just go up in there and not try to learn something. And this is what's been going on for generations on my ancestors' territory. So, anyway, many of these sites play a role in the events that have shaped Black culture. This American history, from slavery to civil rights, is mirrored along the coast. As Black History Month draws to a close, here are a few places where we can better understand the difficulties and celebrate the successes of African Americans in North Carolina. This is what I was thinking about. A dismal swamp. That's Dismal swamp. This is something that I wanted to visit. It says archaeologists are still learning details about how hundreds or even thousands of slaves escaped to and lived in this inhospitable mix of mud, insects, and vegetation. But they do know that the swamp was part of what's known as the Maritime Underground Railroad that existed in the 1800s until the Civil War. The slave born in Camden County around 1786 wrote about his experiences working on cargo vessels in and around these waterways, and how he eventually obtained his freedom and saved enough money to buy his wife and children in his narrative of life of Moses Grandy, late a slave in the United States of America. That's something I want to definitely check out. I read a little bit about it like last year or the year before last, and they were still trying to learn more about the swamps. Honestly, guys, I did not know there were swamps in Virginia. This dismal swamp actually is from Virginia, the coast of Virginia, like the Tidewater area, down through the coastal area of North Carolina. This is something you do not find in your typical U.S. history books. This is something that I had to learn later in life as an adult. That's the sad part about it. Chowan County Courthouse. That's Chowan. Harriet Jacobs, who was born into slavery but eventually escaped and wrote one of the first narratives from the perspective of a female slave in the South, is a significant historic presence in this coastal town on the Albemarle Sound. Visitors can learn more about her time in Editon though a walking tour, or I guess they meant through a walking tour. It's self-guided much of the year, but in February, docent-led tours are available Tuesday through Saturday to more fully explore her history, said Natalie Harrison, program coordinator for the historic Editon Historic Site. There are 13 stops, including the building that was built in the 1760s, where Jacob's grandmother, Molly Horniblow, was granted her freedom. Horniblow played a significant role in sheltering Jacobs and her children. And while I was reading that, I'm going back down. I'm going back down to Outer Banks in a couple of weeks. And so maybe I will check this place out, because it is technically going to be in February. The Roanoke Island Freedmen's Colony. Let's see. When this site was occupied by Union forces in 1862, the Army emancipated the slaves and offered them a new start and a taste of freedom. During the following years, the colony continued to grow despite what was at the time an isolated location west of Nag's Head. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about Hotel de Afrique, west of, I'm getting that mixed up. That's something different. Anyway, by 1864, records showed that it had become a thriving African American community with 561 houses built on the island and a population of almost 4,000. Many of the residents fought for the Union during the Civil War. Afterward, though, the population dwindled as residents left to begin new lives elsewhere, according to information from the Fort Riley Historic Sites. The Isaac J. Smith House. This property at 607 Johnson Street in New Bern was built in 1922 as the home of Smith, a realtor, finance broker, and one of the area's wealthiest African Americans. This is what I want to see too. Not only do I want to pay respect to those who went through hell, but still they rose. Still they came out as precious gems under the pressure. But I also love to hear about individuals who, I mean, come on, the wealthiest African American in North Carolina in 1922. I want to know more about that. He also served in the North Carolina House of Representatives in 1898. The site is one of the homes, churches, and businesses on the African American Heritage Tour in New Bern, which was a popular town for both slaves and freed blacks during colonial times, and over the years grew into a community with a sizable black population of sailors. Again, let me read that again because I don't know if you guys, it says something about reconnecting, so I don't know if you missed something. But it says he also served in the North Carolina House of Representatives in 1898. The site is one of the homes, churches, businesses on the African American Heritage Tour in New Bern, which was a popular town for both slaves and freed blacks during colonial times, and over the years grew into a community with a sizable black population of skilled craftsmen and sailors. Close to the Smith House, for example, is the former Roan Hotel at 512 Queen Street, a business owned and operated by African Americans and home to Charlotte Roan, which is R-H-O-N-E, the first black registered nurse in the state. Excellence. Excellence. That's what we need to see. We need to read. We need to digest. We need to see that. And you know what? I may have to take a tour of that too. William Sharp, that's S-H-A-R-P-E, left, and John Hurt, Harriet's father, on Hammocks Beach in the 1930s or 40s. So that was a picture that they're showing there, and they was giving credit where credit's due in that picture. Let's see. There's more, guys. Hammocks Beach State Park. Bear Island, which is now a part of this coastal park near Swansboro, was a favorite place of David William Sharp, a New York physician during the early 20th century. John Hurst, an African American guide, often accompanied him and eventually became his friend. While Sharp wanted to leave the property to his guide, Hurst convinced him to leave it to the North Carolina Teachers Association, an organization of African American teachers who eventually donated the island to the state with the intention of creating a park for minorities. It opened for all following the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They donated the island to the state. Wow. That's called Hammocks Beach State Park. Ocean City, which is beach communities that cater to African Americans, can be found dotted along the North Carolina coast. This historic section of North Topsail Beach, and I've been to Topsail Beach, by the way. In Topsail Beach, from what I experienced, I didn't see many non-white people, and I saw my share of Confederate flags while I was there. But I've been to Topsail Beach. Anyway, this historic section of North Topsail Beach is one of them. So maybe I was further south. Maybe there's a North Topsail Beach and then a South Topsail Beach. So maybe I was in the southern tip of it. The reason why I didn't see reflections of my genetic pool, you know. Let's see. Established in 1949, it's thought to be one of the first owned by African Americans. It was envisioned and developed by Wade H. Chestnut Sr., an African American and white Wilmington attorney, Edgar L. Yao. Recently, several street signs were dedicated at the site to preserve its historical significance. Interesting. Here we go, another one. Arley Gardens. Minnie Evans, who was born in Pender County, worked for years as the gatekeeper at this public garden near Wrightsville Beach. She gained fame, though, through her work as a visionary artist. Although she had no formal training, it's said that she began to paint in 1939 when she had a prophetic dream, and her work is described as dreamlike and fantastical. That's pretty cool. She often painted at Arley, using whatever materials were handy, and was inspired by the natural beauty. Her work was eventually shown in New York's Whitney Museum and the North Carolina Museum of Art. Now the gardens are home to the Bottle Chapel, designed by Virginia Wright Fearson as a commemoration of her art. And I'm not going to read too much more. It's quite a few places to check out. I'm going to read this one. Freedman Park. What's now a popular spot on Pleasure Island near Snow's Cut was once known as Seabreeze or Freedman's Beach. It has a long history, but from the 1920s to the 60s, it was a well-known beach resort for African Americans with hotels, restaurants, and an amusement park with Ferris wheels. The music clubs or jump joints drew so many popular and well-known performers that the resort earned the nickname Bop City. I don't know where this is. Freeman Park. That sounds like that's a lot of fun. And a ton of entertainment and just rich history. Navassa, Navassa, the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, extends through South Carolina and Georgia, but its northernmost sites are along the Sea Islands and coastal areas of North Carolina, which I did not know that. When I think of Geechee, I think of South Carolina. So I didn't know that. So that's good. The culture is distinguished by the Creole language spoken by the Gullah and Geechee people and the many lingering influences of their African heritage, which I'm assuming that's more spiritual. You know, when I say African heritage, I'm thinking more spiritual. Navassa, which was one home to 5 rice plantations and one of North Carolina communities, has strong ties to the culture. Efforts are underway to preserve this past and create a Gullah Geechee Resource Center there. That is cool, guys. So, with all that said, there's just so many things that you don't see displayed in the Outer Banks. Like I said, that one colored school, Jarvisburg Colored School. You do see that if you don't blink. You do see that on your way down to Outer Banks. Again, this is in Currituck County, North Carolina. You will see it on the side of the road if you pay attention. But, and Richard Etheridge Bridge, which is connecting Pea Island to another small island in Cape Hatteras National Seashore Park or whatever. And I mentioned before, Richard Etheridge was a sea captain, if I'm not mistaken. He's like a hero in that area. And I just found out about him last spring. Was it last spring? I think it was last spring because Mister was trying to, because he saw it on the front page of the local magazine or something, and I think it was during Black History Month, but it was still displayed. You know, one of those free magazines you get from, let's say, a welcome center or a visitor center. And it was in, I think it was in April when he went down and he saw it and he brought it back and let me see it. Um, Born into slavery on Roanoke Island, Etheridge was in charge of the U.S. Life-Saving Service Station at Pea Island from January 1880 to May of 1900. The story of Etheridge and the Pea Island surfmen has been immortalized in the riveting book Fire on the Beach, which I have yet to read, by the way, guys. But that is in the collection that I will be reading. Um, it's called Fire on the Beach and recently made into a documentary film called Rescue Men. Despite living during a time of great prejudice, white lifesavers who refused to work for him and his station was burned to the ground by disgruntling whites, Etheridge's career was one of distinction. Having been a sergeant in the colored troops of the Union Army during the Civil War, he ran the station with military precision. Precision. This resulted in successful missions, including a chilling rescue of the E.S. Newman in October 1896 when two of his crew moved through hurricane-force seas to save lives. Lifesaver. That's why they call them lifesavers. Not just him and his crew, but just those who go out there and rescue people who have been shipwrecked. And they call them lifesavers. Not the candy, but, lifesavers. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Let me read some of these comments. Pony says, everyone else are visitors or invaders. Exactly. You come into a territory that is not of your own, you need to wipe your feet at the door. Don't bring your trash up in here. Don't bring your dirt up in here. This is not your house. You respect this house. You don't just come up in here tracking your dirt, again, putting your feet up on the coffee table. No, that's not how you come in somebody's house. So you don't come into somebody's territory and forget they even existed or don't acknowledge that you're in their house. Ari says, my indigenous package is Massachusetts, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, Michigan, etc. Just like you. Cool. Ari says, Virginia and Maryland. I heard recently that the rebel flag was stolen from one or more indigenous tribes, just like swastikas and white hoods from ancient Egypt. Yeah, I feel like the swastika was, I want to say Hopi or something like that. It had nothing to do with how it's interpreted these days. It was not derogatory at all. And so you have people who unfortunately created something ugly out of a symbol that had nothing to do with being ugly. Yeah, so in other words, that's what I think I have cooking up for you guys. Among other things, just me being me and, just sharing whatever with you guys, So I think as far as with this channel and the platform that I created it on, I feel like I owe it to you guys to to kind of show you guys some of these trips that I go on and things of that nature. Now, I didn't record it. When I went, but it was a few months ago. I went to the Wright Brothers Museum. I feel like this was Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. And I was surprised that they had non-white people displayed at this museum that are linked to flight, airplanes and space and all that stuff. And yeah, I took pictures and everything. I just didn't record it. But they had a few things in there that caught my attention. And it was pertaining to Black people and their contribution to flight. All right. Let's see. See, stuff like that, guys. This is the type of stuff I want to have in a video or a live stream or something so I can share with you guys. Because, I mean, yeah, I could sit here and talk. But I think it has more impact when you're actually seeing it, versus me just talking. Let's see. So it's called the Charles H. Wright. That's Charles H. Wright Museum of well, no, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on. Yeah, the Wright Brothers National Memorial. Oh, and to get in there, it cost, was it $10? I think it was $10 to get into this museum. But what I also did was I walked. It took me like 15-20 minutes, but I walked all the way up to the hill where they have this monument, this huge monument up there. And that's where they took flight when they would practice or whatever. And it was on a very, very high ridge. And then, they would go down that ridge and get enough wind up under the wings and take off like that. And so they have a monument there. And I hiked up that thing, and like I said, I took pictures or whatever. And it was a hike. it definitely was a hike. Let's see. I wish I could find something about what caught my attention with the Black folks. That always catches my attention because it's out of the ordinary. Not that it doesn't happen, but we don't see enough of it. Other people are congratulated and honored and immortalized and things of that nature. And when it has nothing to do with Martin Luther King or somebody like that, you rarely hear about non-white people's contributions, or how they helped these people who are now famous. When I say help, I'm not talking about taking out their slop and nursing their children or nothing like that. But I'm saying as far as whatever level of skill that it took to fly a plane successfully. There were influencers that were not white that invested in them. Do you hear about that? Let's be honest. Anyway, I have this information, but it's just not on this website. It's in the museum. I'm just not seeing it on this website. Um, yeah, I'm reading your chat response area. You said culture vultures. I agree to a certain extent because you do have people who feel that way that are indigenous American about everybody else, including their sisters and brothers that are genetically linked to them. They just happen to have a darker complexion. Just saying. Everybody black claim they got Indian blood in their family. They're not Indian. They probably just got white blood in there and they just want to claim Indian. Taking our, our culture or whatever. Stop trying to take our culture. It's called waking up. It's called rebirth. When you are genetically connected to a people. When your culture was suppressed, but the genetics don't lie. That's not culture vultures. For those who have a problem with so-called black people stealing their Native American culture. No, it's called waking up. It's called rebirth. It's called remembering and taking whatever you can take and creating what was already yours from the first place. And a lot of them people, indigenous folks, they don't know the complete history. All they know is those people over there are black because they have some black blood. They're taking our culture. No, we're waking up. And you know who else is waking up? And I've said this before and I'll say this again. Our indigenous American brothers and sisters south of the border who speak another European language or languages. They're waking up. They're waking up. Aries says, we're linked to everything. Some whites acknowledge while most hide or try to erase. Yep. We can't slap all white people. Not all white people deserve to be slapped upside the head. You do have those who are awakened that understand and they go out of their way to be as respectful as possible. And it's unfortunate that the rest of them sabotage that connection with the rest of us. So we can't slap everybody with European ancestry that look white, slap them up against the head, and put them in the same box as someone who deserves to be slapped up against the head or upside the head. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. It's 9:20. It's been well over 2 hours, and my battery is about to die on my cell phone. And I still need to do a couple of things before I call it a night. So, thanks for listening to me gibber and jabber the past couple of hours. Thanks, guys, for chiming in. Thanks, Pony, Ari, Natalie. Um, who else? Who else been chiming in? Not Natalie. Sorry, Natasha. Um, hopefully, I didn't bore you to death, Natasha, being that this is your first live video. um, yeah, thanks, guys, for you know, staying on this chat, and hopefully you learned something, because I'm learning something, and what I learned, um, I'm happy to share it with you, and just we all just learn and grow together. Anyway, I gotta go. It was good chit chatting with you guys. Be blessed. Be a blessing to others. And until next time, toodles.